Now, it's fair to say that zombie games have gone through something of a downturn in recent years, but because everything that is old is eventually new again, this genre appears to be on the verge of an epic resurgence, rising from the embers like the undead themselves. And so what better time than now than to talk about the top 10 upcoming zombie games you need to know more about? Well, I won't waste your time and I'll actually start yapping about them then, as I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are the top 10 upcoming zombie games. Number 10, Killing Floor 3. Some 9 years after the release of the previous game, Killing Floor 3 is finally landing this summer. The much-loved 6-player co-op horror FPS franchise returns with a threequel set a quarter of a century after the events of Killing Floor 2, as tyrannical megacorp Horzine unleashes another army of bioengineered Zeds. Don't call them zombies upon what remains of the world. Expect more of the gooey, wave-based chaos that drove the previous games to such success, with developer Tripwire Interactive promising that the series' meat dismemberment engine has received some truly gnarly updates. And from the footage that we've seen so far, that certainly seems to be true. Though the gameplay improvements largely appear to be incremental, namely adding more finessed movements and replacing existing classes with specialists, why tinker with a formula that's already working so well? Killing Floor 3 releases for PC, PS5 and Xbox Series X and S on July 24th. Number 9, House of the Dead 2 Remake. Following the modest success of 2022's remake of the classic light gun shooter The House of the Dead, a glossy update for its beloved sequel is now on the way. A massive hit in arcades and one of the most popular games on the Sega Dreamcast in the late 90s, The House of the Dead 2 is fondly remembered for its snappy on-rails zombie blasting gunplay, over-the-top bosses, and yes, it's totally rubbish voice acting.
Hurry, go! Thanks, G.
The remake will offer shiny new graphics alongside both the original and a remastered soundtrack and online co-op functionality. Though Megapixel Studios' remake of the original game definitely had its rough edges, it was still a nostalgic treat to blast through, so there's little reason to expect any different from their second time up to bat.
I don't want to die!
Number 8, Dying Light The Beast. Dying Light The Beast was originally envisioned as DLC for Dying Light 2, but when its main story was leaked online in 2023, developer Techland expanded it into something much larger. Though shorter and more linear than both prior games in the series, the developer has promised that The Beast will deliver a more intense experience in line with the original game, after some fans complained that Dying Light 2 just wasn't scary enough. Appropriately then, The Beast will reunite players with the first game's protagonist Kyle Crane, as he escapes captivity and seeks revenge on the Baron, who experimented on him for an entire 13 years. But the big old rub is that the Baron's experiments have left Crane with enhanced strength and speed while he's in beast mode, offering a fun wrinkle on the series' well-trod open-world zombie-wrecking gameplay. Just a side note though, when will villains learn not to do this? It's like, oh, you're my arch-nemesis. What if I just gave you loads of crazy powers and turned you into a super weapon? That definitely won't come back to bite me in the ass. But still, Dying Light The Beast will release for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S in Q2 or Q3 of this year. Number 7, John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. No Hollywood filmmaker has been more vocal about their love of video games than Halloween's John Carpenter, and fittingly, the director has been collaborating with developer Saber Interactive on a new co-op first-person zombie shooter called Toxic Commando. The utterly bonkers reveal trailer confirmed that Toxic Commando is an unashamedly 80s-flavored horror action game, as players traverse an undead-infested hellscape battling massive hordes of the flesh eaters in an attempt to eliminate the outbreak. With a distinctly pulpy vibe inspired by Carpenter's own classic movies, a bevy of skills and abilities to unlock, and an eldritch abomination known as the Sludge God to contend with, great name, Toxic Commando looks primed to be a loving throwback to a simpler, sillier time for the zombie genre. And given that this isn't Saber's first zombie rodeo, having previously helmed the still popular World War Z game, it's easy to be optimistic about this one. Number 6, The Midnight Walkers. Midnight Walkers is a first-person PvPvE zombie extraction shooter, with players finding themselves trapped inside a mega complex packed to the brim with zombies, mutant monsters, and fearsome bosses. What separates the game from other extraction zombie shooters is that each of the complex's floors is different. One might be a shopping mall, or another might be a hospital, a casino, or so on. Each of these floors harbors unique dangers, while a poison gas spreading throughout random floors ensures that players, whether solo or with friends, will need to stay on their tippy toes. Progression is defined by the ability to scavenge or craft weapons, armor, and consumables, which can be stored for your next run. You'll be be able to trade survival items with other players through an online marketplace which imitates the dark web. Though it's tough to stand out in the wildly overcrowded extraction shooter genre, the Midnight Walkers looks like it just might have the sauce to do it. And you can find out for yourselves when the Midnight Walkers drops on PC later this year. Number 5. State of Decay 3. State of Decay fans have been waiting patiently for 7 years for the third entry into the hit post-apocalyptic multiplayer survival series, which was actually announced all the way back in 2020. As with previous games, players will be thrown into an open world in the wake of a bleak apocalypse where human survivors are vastly outnumbered by the undead. With up to 3 others, you can scour the land, taking on zombies and scavenging resources, or trying to stave off the anxious threat of permadeath. While we haven't actually seen much from the game marketing-wise yet, the reveal trailer did confirm that State of Decay 3 will feature zombie deer, and that hopefully means that we'll have an array of undead wildlife to fend off against as we explore the world. State of Decay 3 will release on PC and Xbox Series X and S at a date yet to be announced, and also on day 1 thanks to Game Pass. Number 4. Quarantine Zone: The Last Check. And now for something completely different. Here we have a checkpoint simulator that just so happens to take place in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. Inspired by the brilliant Papers, Please, Quarantine Zone: The Last Check tasks players with overseeing security operations at a crucial checkpoint for the remnants of humanity. You'll be tasked with inspecting survivors to confirm their status, and then either trusting, quarantining, or liquidating them accordingly. You'll need to use tactile tools like body scanners, thermometers, and UV flashlights to make your judgments, and then live with the consequences. Meanwhile, you'll also be responsible for building out the checkpoint's base and balancing resource allocation with overall security. That's one hell of a creative spin on the typical zombie game, and should result in one of the most morally agonizing depictions of the undead that the medium has ever seen. Quarantine Zone: The Last Check will release for PC in September. Number 3. Hunger. From the creators of acclaimed multiplayer shooter Hell Let Loose, Hunger is one of the most impressive recent showcases of what Unreal Engine 5 is truly capable of. Though unapologetically inspired by the zombie-laden extraction shooter Hunt Showdown, Hunger developer Good Fun Corporation has promised that the game is really more of a first-person action RPG with an extraction loop. And even if that's ultimately a bit of marketing spiel, Hunger's Napoleonic European setting sure helps it stand out. By surviving expeditions, players will progress from level 1 to 100, in turn growing stronger, building their rep, and being able to craft weapons and items to aid their journey. Hunger also places a major emphasis on community, with players able to meet at a safe hub area called the Chateau to chat, trade items, and quest with up to 2 others. The developers seem intent to deliver an uncommonly deep riff on the typical extraction formula, with a high degree of customization and persistent progression, ensuring that there's no such thing as a throwaway run, which you love to see. Hunger will launch in early access on PC later this year. Number 2. God Save Birmingham. How's this for an unexpected setting for an open-world post-apocalyptic zombie game? 14th century Birmingham. I mean, sure, why not? Yeah, cool. God Save Birmingham plonks you right in the middle of Brum as one of the few remaining survivors of an undead plague, where you'll need to fend off hungry attackers, seek out shelter, and forage for supplies. Apart from the gorgeously grotty world that you'll slay your way through, one of the game's big hooks is its emphasis on physics-based gameplay mechanics. You'll be able to barricade doors with furniture, scale fences to trip up clumsy zombies, and even delimb the undead to make your battles a little easier. However, the game's physics can also bite you in the proverbial, as tripping over a bucket, for example, will leave you easy pickings for the famished horde. Developer Ocean Drive Studio Incorporated has promised that though the early access period will launch with only a small sliver of Birmingham available, it will be progressively unveiled to players leading up to the full-fat release, which clearly can't come soon enough. God Save Birmingham is set to release in early access on PC and consoles at an unspecified date. And number 1, Blight Survival. And finally, we have another, albeit very different riff on medieval zombie mayhem with Blight Survival. Set in an alt history 14th century Europe, this game is a co-op PvE extraction light, where you and 3 friends can team up to battle humans and monsters alike while trying to eradicate a plague which mutates anyone it touches into a zombie-like creature. Blight Survival went immediately viral when the developers dropped the first gameplay footage of it late in 2022, and even though they emphasized that it was still in an embryonic state of development at the time, it has done numbers. While it still seems that we're a fair way off from playing the game ourselves, what's been shown off so far looks eye-wateringly impressive. The cinematic combat set within a grimy world is so mind-bogglingly photoreal that you can practically smell it. Ew. Updates on the game have been sporadic at best, but with the team recently expanding and also securing a publisher in Dead by Daylight's Behavior Interactive, it does sound like things are moving along swimmingly. Blight Survival is still currently in development for PC. And there we go, my friends, those were the top 10 upcoming zombie games. that you need to check out. Hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Blue Sky and Instagram, where it's @RetroJ, but the O is a 0, and I hope that you're treating yourself well with all that love and respect that you bloody well deserve. Now get out there and smash it, my friends. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.